the Church of the Holy Sepulchre, one of the most sacred places on earth. For the faithful, it is a place of pilgrimage and worship.
Imagine standing in the heart of Jerusalem, surrounded by ancient stone walls that hold secrets of centuries past. Here lies the Church of the Holy Sepulchre, a beacon drawing in pilgrims and believers from every corner of the globe.
It was situated in one of the dark corners of the Holy Sepulchre. Nobody knew what is the purpose of this stone. Everybody knew that this stone is the graffiti stone of the Holy Sepulchre.
But it happened that during an event in the Church of the Holy Sepulchre, a miracle that sent shockwaves around the world occurred. The footage of this miraculous happening makes the world wonder if this is a divine sign of something yet to come, or if it's a sign that will reshape the history we all know. Join us as we journey back to how it all started. The Church of the Holy Sepulchre, also referred to as the Basilica of the Holy Sepulchre, or simply the Holy Sepulchre, holds great historical significance. It is named after either the resurrection of Jesus or his tomb, which serves as its focal point. Dating back to the 4th century, ancient traditions hold that this location is home to two sacred sites in Christianity: the spot where Jesus was crucified, known as Calvary or Golgotha, and the empty tomb where he was buried and rose from the dead. Long ago, the area served as a Jewish cemetery, and then a pagan temple was constructed on top of it. The church and rotunda, which was initially constructed during Constantine's reign in the 4th century and later destroyed, were reconstructed with changes by Emperor Constantine VII Monomachos and the Crusaders, leading to a notable transformation from the original design. Inside the church, you can find the final 4 stations of the Via Dolorosa, depicting the last moments of the death and crucifixion of Jesus. Since the 4th century, this church has been a significant pilgrimage spot for Christians, believed to be where Christ was resurrected. That's where it got its original Greek name, Church of the Anastasis, which means resurrection. However, the status quo, a historic agreement reached by religious groups, governs the site. Ownership of the church is divided among various Christian denominations and secular bodies in complex agreements that have remained largely unchanged for more than 160 years, and in some cases even longer. The primary denominations with stakes in the church's property include the Roman Catholic, Greek Orthodox, and Armenian Apostolic churches, with smaller roles played by the Coptic, Syriac, and Ethiopian Orthodox churches. After the devastating siege of Jerusalem in AD 70, the once glorious city lay in ruins. However, in AD 130, the Roman Emperor Hadrian initiated the construction of a new Roman colony called Aelia Capitolina on the same site. However, around AD 135, he decided to fill in a cave that housed a rock-cut tomb, creating a solid base for a magnificent temple dedicated to either Jupiter or Venus. This grand temple stood tall until the early 4th century. In the Church of the Holy Sepulchre, a ceremony that ignites this miraculous sign happens every year. This event attracts thousands of Christians from around the world to witness these happenings. As people recount their experience, what they said will shock you. Each year during Easter, a miraculous event takes place on Easter Saturday at the Church of the Holy Sepulchre in Jerusalem. It is said that holy light appears in the tomb of Christ. The Greek Orthodox Patriarch collects this light using lit candles and then passes the holy fire from candle to candle among the people gathered in the church. This sacred flame is then taken to churches worldwide. Interestingly, thousands of pilgrims from all corners of the globe gather at the Church of the Holy Sepulchre in Jerusalem to witness the ceremony. The church is overflowing with people. The main worship center is the most sought-after place that not everyone will be able to join inside. Many have to participate in the courtyard just outside the main entrance, or even in the streets beyond, where Israeli forces have set up metal barriers to control the crowds. Whenever people gather during the ceremony, the air inside is charged with an electrifying energy, filled with a sense of thrill and eager anticipation. Devotees hold flickering candles, ready to embrace the sacred light, while from the early hours of the day, the faithful raise their voices in timeless melodies and rhythmic chants. Guided by the Arab Christians, the atmosphere comes alive with vibrant dances and the rhythmic beats of drums. The crowd eagerly starts chanting "Christ is risen" in various languages, such as Greek, Arabic, Russian, Romanian, and English as they wait. At 1:45 in the afternoon, the leader of the Greek Orthodox Church makes his entrance, leading a group of clergy in a procession. They move around the edicule 3 times, slowly and with reverence. Later, the patriarch's elaborate robes are carefully inspected to ensure there are no concealed flames. After breaking the wax seal around the shrine, a solitary oil lamp, not yet lit, is brought inside and positioned on the spot where it is believed that Christ's body was once laid. But it doesn't end there. Wearing a simple white alba, the Greek patriarch steps into the sacred edicule, clutching 2 bundles of unlit candles. Each bundle represents the 33 years of Jesus' earthly existence, a profound symbol. With reverence, he lowers himself onto his knees before the ancient stone and starts uttering a prayer that has been passed down through time. The account of what unfolds next varies among individuals, sparking debates on whether it is a miraculous occurrence or not. Some claim that celestial light descends from the heavens, filtering through a skylight in the edicule, the tomb of Jesus. Others argue that the radiance emanates directly from the stone itself. Regardless, only the patriarch bears witness to the exact nature of this extraordinary event. When the patriarch steps into the edicule, all the lights in the church go out, and the eager, hushed crowd waits in the darkness. Sometimes the wait is a few minutes long, while other times it's very brief. As soon as the patriarch emerges from the edicule with his bundles of lit candles, the crowd bursts into shouts of joy. The sacred fire is first used to light the candles held by the patriarchs of the Armenian and Coptic Orthodox Church, who stand at the entrance to the edicule. Then, it is carried out into the crowd. Those closest to the front eagerly push forward for a chance to light their candles from the patriarchs. The flame quickly spreads throughout the church, passing from candle to candle amidst joyful cheers. In the coming days, the sacred flame will be shared with Orthodox churches worldwide, as emissaries light special lanterns to bring the fire back to their homelands. Throughout the years, numerous eyewitnesses have shared their accounts of pilgrims' candles mysteriously lighting up while they patiently wait in the dimly lit church, just before the patriarch emerges with the sacred light. Some say it burns gently and is different from normal fire, while some people say it's a trick. Additionally, there is a belief that the holy fire possesses unique qualities, as it burns without emitting any heat for the initial 33 minutes. This allows the faithful to safely immerse their faces and hands in the flames without experiencing any burns. This ceremony happens every year and causes lots of people to flood the site. Not only the ceremony, it's the captivating thing about the Church of the Holy Sepulchre, but also its architecture and rich history. Let's delve into the history that led to the building of this magnificent temple. It all started with Constantine the Great. Constantine the Great's conversion to Christianity was sparked by a vision of a cross in the sky. After the vision, he went ahead to sign an edict to legalize Christianity as a religion, thereby putting an end to the cruel persecution Christianity faced. In the course of this happenings, Bishop Macarius of Jerusalem sought permission from Constantine to excavate and search for the tomb of Jesus. Constantine agreed and worked alongside Bishop Eusebius of Caesarea, and they discovered 3 crosses near a tomb. The cross was believed to be the true cross on which Jesus was crucified, and it is said to have miraculous healing powers. This led the Romans to believe they had found Calvary. Thereafter, the tomb that was identified as Jesus' final resting place was honored with the construction of a shrine. This shrine, known as the Church of the Holy Sepulchre, was designed by the talented architect Zenobius. It consisted of 2 distinct structures, the Anastasis, a magnificent rotunda where Jesus was believed to be buried, and the Martyrium, a grand basilica located across a courtyard to the east. Since the early 4th century, the Church of the Holy Sepulchre has held a significant place as the site where Jesus was crucified, buried, and resurrected. It was officially consecrated on the 13th of September in 335. In 327, Emperor Constantine and his mother Helena commissioned the Church of the Nativity in Bethlehem to honor the birth of Jesus. The Christians were happy because they felt liberated to practice their religion. But this didn't last long. Something terrible happened. In May 614, a devastating fire engulfed the Constantinian sanctuary in Jerusalem. This unfortunate event occurred during the invasion of Jerusalem by the powerful Sassanid Empire, led by Khosrau II. Tragically, the invaders managed to capture the revered True Cross during this tumultuous time. However, hope was not lost. In 630, the resilient emperor Heraclius triumphantly reclaimed the city and took it upon himself to rebuild the church, restoring its former glory. But Jerusalem later fell into the hands of Muslim rulers. Following the Islamic conquest of Jerusalem, the city's Christian church was preserved by the early Muslim rulers, who safeguarded the Christian sites and prevented their destruction or conversion into living spaces. Legend has it that Caliph Umar al-Khattab, upon visiting the church, chose to pray outside instead of inside to avoid any potential misunderstandings that could lead to the church being converted into a mosque. To avoid Muslims from taking over the temple, Umar issued a decree prohibiting Muslims from residing in that area. Unfortunately, the church later suffered significant damage from an earthquake. During the early 9th century, an earthquake struck, causing damage to the dome of the Anastasis. However, in 810, Patriarch Thomas I successfully repaired the damage. Unfortunately, the church faced another setback in 841 when it was engulfed in a devastating fire. Muslims wanting to have something identical to the Church of the Holy Sepulchre decided to build theirs, but the Christians managed to prevent the construction of the neighboring Muslim mosque. But their troubles were far from over. In 938, a new fire wreaked havoc inside the basilica, coming dangerously close to the rotunda. The year 966 brought further turmoil as a riot erupted following the defeat of Muslim armies in Syria, leading to brutal reprisals. Tragically, the basilica was once again set ablaze, with the doors and roof consumed by the flames, and the murder of Patriarch John VII added to the heart-wrenching events. The church faced a devastating fate when Al-Hakim issued a ruthless command for its utter annihilation. This act was part of a broader offensive against Christian holy sites in Palestine and Egypt. The consequences were severe, leaving only fragments of the once majestic church intact. The sacred tomb's roof suffered significant damage, and the original shrine was destroyed. Although some attempts were made to restore parts of the church, the shockwaves reverberated across Christian Europe, leading to the expulsion of Jews and eventually fueling the flames of the Crusades. Under the rule of Al-Hakim, Christians were not allowed to publicly practice their faith, and all churches were closed. In the place of the Church of the Holy Sepulchre, Al-Hakim ordered the construction of a horse market. During this time, many Christians were persecuted and forced to convert to Islam. Some Christians fled the region, while others kept their faith a secret. Also, Al-Hakim implemented several policies that distinguished between Christians and Muslims. He ordered Christians to wear distinctive clothing, and he even forbade them from riding horses or camels. In addition, Christians were not allowed to build new churches, and they were forced to pay higher taxes than Muslims. Al-Hakim also banned the ringing of church bells, and he ordered the destruction of Christian cemeteries. These policies were part of a larger effort to suppress Christianity and promote Islam as the dominant religion in the region. But all hope was not lost, for the temple was finally reconstructed. During extensive talks between the Fatimids and the Byzantine Empire in 1027–1028, a deal was struck allowing the church to be rebuilt and adorned. The reconstruction was successfully. According to Muslim accounts, a positive outcome of this agreement was the voluntary return of many Christians who had been coerced into converting to Islam during Al-Hakim's oppressive rule. Furthermore, the Byzantines, in exchange for releasing 5,000 Muslim captives, put forth requests for the reconstruction of other churches demolished by Al-Hakim and the reinstatement of a patriarch in Jerusalem. However, modern accounts attribute the emperor to investing large amounts of money to renovate the Church of the Holy Sepulchre following the agreement. However, a complete rebuilding was simply too costly. The focus was on rebuilding the rotunda and its adjacent structures, while the main basilica continued to lay in its debris. The reconstructed church site was a captivating space, featuring a courtyard that embraced the open sky. 5 charming chapels were intricately connected to this court, each with its unique significance. These chapels, situated to the east of the Court of Resurrection, marked the exact spot where the tomb lay beneath the vast expanse of the heavens. They served as poignant reminders of the various scenes from the Passion of Christ, including the prison of Christ and his flagellation. Likely, these chapels were strategically placed in this manner due to the challenges faced in navigating through the bustling city streets to visit multiple shrines. The chapel's dedication serves as a testament to the unwavering devotion of the pilgrims towards the suffering of Christ. These chapels have been likened to a condensed version of the Via Dolorosa, as there was minimal reconstruction carried out on the grounds of the Grand Basilicpa. In the 11th century, Western pilgrims visiting Jerusalem were disheartened to find much of the revered site in ruins. The control over Jerusalem, and consequently the Church of the Holy Sepulchre, exchanged hands multiple times between the Fatimids and the Seljuk Turks, who remained loyal to the Abbasid Caliph in Baghdad until the arrival of the Crusaders in 1099. Initially, the crusade was planned as a military pilgrimage, with every crusader feeling the need to pray at the Holy Sepulchre to truly finish their journey. But in the process, something incredible happened. It is recorded that during the time of the Crusaders, there were whispers that a cistern beneath the old basilica held the true cross, discovered by Helena. This cistern eventually transformed into the revered chapel of the Invention of the Cross. However, there was no concrete evidence of this site's identification until the 11th century. Recent archaeological studies have revealed that the cistern was actually repaired by monomachos in the 11th century. The Crusaders diligently explored the remnants of the eastern ruins, carefully sifting through the debris. As they ventured deeper, their quest to access the cistern led them to an unexpected discovery: a section of the ancient ground level of Hadrian's temple enclosure. Recognizing its significance, they ingeniously converted this area into a splendid chapel, honoring Helena. To ensure easy access, they expanded their initial excavation tunnel, fashioning it into a magnificent staircase. Under the reign of Queen Melisande, the Crusaders embarked on a mission to revamp the church in the magnificent Romanesque style, while also erecting a majestic bell tower. These renovations not only brought together the various small chapels on the premises, but also marked a significant milestone by housing all the sacred spaces under a single roof for the very first time. As a result, the church became the esteemed residence of the inaugural Latin patriarchs and served as the esteemed location for a room used for writing scriptures and other religious books. Later, Saladin took control of the church and the city in 1187, but a treaty following the Third Crusade allowed Christian pilgrims to continue visiting the site. Emperor Frederick II managed to regain the city and the church in the 13th century, despite being under excommunication. The church was then under the authority of Greek Orthodox Patriarch Athanasius II of Jerusalem during the final years of Latin rule over Jerusalem. The Khwarezmians captured both the city and the church in 1244, in an interesting turn of events. In 1555, the Franciscan friars undertook the church's renovation, as it had been neglected despite an increase in pilgrims. They reconstructed the edicule, expanding the structure to include an antechamber. Friar Boniface of Ragusa commissioned a marble shrine to encase Christ's tomb, likely to deter pilgrims from touching the original rock or taking fragments as mementos. Additionally, a marble slab was positioned over the limestone burial bed where Jesus' body is believed to have rested. Following the renovation in 1555, the control of the church alternated between the Franciscans and the Orthodox, depending on which group managed to secure a favorable firman from the Sublime Porte through various means, including bribery. Instances of violent clashes were not uncommon. The issue remained unresolved even after being discussed during the negotiations for the Treaty of Karlowitz in 1699. In 1757, Orthodox Christians reportedly seized control of parts of the church that were previously under Franciscan authority during Holy Week. This event possibly led to the Sultan's firman, which eventually evolved into the status quo so they could share power. The main custodians of the Holy Sepulchre are the Roman Catholic, Greek Orthodox, and Armenian Apostolic churches. The Greek Orthodox are represented by the Greek Orthodox Patriarchate and the Brotherhood of the Holy Sepulchre, while the Roman Catholics are represented by the Franciscan Custody of the Holy Land. In the 19th century, the Coptic Orthodox, Ethiopian Orthodox, and Syriac Orthodox also gained some responsibilities for shrines and structures near the Holy Sepulchre. The main entrance of the church was not controlled by any specific group until Saladin gave the Nusayba family the responsibility of looking after it in 1192. The intricately carved wooden doors at the entrance are the original ones. Saladin had given the keys of the Holy Sepulchre to the Jude al-Ghudia family in 1187. Despite sporadic conflicts, religious ceremonies happen regularly within the church, and peaceful coexistence is generally maintained. However, the establishment of the modern status quo in 1853 did not stop controversy and occasional violence. In 1902, 18 friars were hospitalized, and some monks were jailed after the Franciscans and Greeks disagreed over who could clean the lowest step of the Chapel of the Franks. Following this incident, a convention was signed by the Greek Patriarch, Franciscan Custos, Ottoman governor, and French consul general, allowing both denominations to sweep it. On a scorching summer day in 2002, a Coptic monk moved his chair into the shade, which was seen as a hostile act by the Ethiopians, resulting in 11 hospitalizations after a fight broke out. In another event in 2004, during Orthodox celebrations of the exaltation of the Holy Cross, a door to the Franciscan chapel was left open, leading to a fistfight with the Orthodox. Some individuals were arrested, but fortunately, no one was seriously hurt. Apart from bringing many denominations together, what stands out in the Temple of the Holy Sepulchre is its architecture. The architecture of the Church of the Holy Sepulchre was built to match the exact descriptions from the Bible. According to the New Testament, Jesus' tomb was located outside the city walls, which was a common practice for burials in ancient times due to their perceived impurity. Interestingly, the church now stands within the current walls of the old city of Jerusalem. Archaeological evidence has revealed that during Jesus' era, the walled city was smaller, and the wall was situated to the east of the church's present location. This means that the site of Jesus' tomb was originally outside the city walls. It is believed that Herod Agrippa, who ruled from 41 AD to 44 AD, expanded the city to the north, resulting in the western wall being repositioned. It was discovered that the region just south and east of the tomb was once a bustling quarry, located outside the city limits during the early 1st century. This fascinating fact was revealed through excavations conducted beneath the Lutheran Church of the Redeemer, situated just across the street. However, the old city of Jerusalem is home to two significant quarters, namely the Christian quarter and the Armenian quarter, both situated in the northwestern and western regions. This strategic location is primarily due to the proximity of the Holy Sepulchre, which lies near the northwestern corner of the walled city. Within the Christian quarter, you'll find the Muristan neighborhood, named after the Persian word for hospital. This area has been a hub for Christian pilgrim hospices since the era of Charlemagne, ensuring their presence near the Holy Sepulchre for centuries. How it feels like going into the Church of the Holy Sepulchre. The original, intricately carved, arched wooden doors at the main entrance are a sight to behold. Unfortunately, only the left-hand entrance is accessible now, as the right doorway has been sealed off for quite some time. The entrance leads to the south transept of the church, passing through the Crusader facade in the parvis of a spacious courtyard. To reach this point, one must navigate through a series of streets, winding through the outer Via Dolorosa and a souk in the Muristan. The narrow path to such a grand structure has proven to be dangerous in the past, like in 1840, when a fire led to the tragic deaths of many pilgrims. As you step inside the church, you'll find a staircase that leads up to Calvary Golgotha, believed to be the spot where Jesus was crucified. This area is beautifully decorated and holds great significance. To exit, you'll take another staircase opposite the first one, leading down to the ambulatory. Golgotha and its chapels are located just south of the main altar of the Catholicon. Calvary is divided into two chapels, one Greek Orthodox and one Catholic, each with its altar. The Greek Orthodox chapel's altar on the left side is positioned above the supposed rock of Calvary, which can be touched through a hole in the floor beneath the altar. The rock is visible under protective glass on both sides of the altar. The softer stone surrounding it was removed during the church's construction. Located on the ground floor, directly beneath the Golgotha chapel, lies the intriguing Chapel of Adam. According to ancient tradition, it is believed that Jesus was crucified right above the spot where Adam's skull was laid to rest. Fascinatingly, it is said that the blood of Christ flowed down the cross and seeped through the rocks, eventually filling Adam's skull. If you peer through a window at the rear of the apse that dates back to the 11th century, you can catch a glimpse of the rock of Calvary. This rock bears a crack that is believed to have been caused by the earthquake that occurred after Jesus' death. However, some scholars argue that the crack is a result of quarrying against a natural flaw in the rock. Just behind the Chapel of Adam, you will discover the Greek treasury, also known as the Treasury of the Greek Patriarch. This treasury houses a collection of precious relics, including a remarkable 12th century crystal mitre. Some of these relics have been transferred to the Greek Orthodox Patriarchate Museum, which can be found on Greek Orthodox Patriarchate Street. Then you come across the Stone of the Anointing. This stone is known to hold a remarkable significance that will baffle you. The Stone of Anointing, also known as the Stone of Unction, can be found just inside the church entrance. According to tradition, this is the place where Joseph of Arimathea prepared Jesus' body for burial. However, it's important to note that this tradition has only been attested since the Crusader era. The stone wall is adorned with vibrant blue balconies and red banners featuring symbols of the Brotherhood of the Holy Sepulchre. Lamps add to the decoration, while a modern mosaic tells the story of Jesus' anointing, flanked by scenes of the descent from the cross and the burial of Jesus. To the left of the entrance, there is a bench that has been traditionally utilized by the Muslim doorkeepers of the church, as well as some Christian clergy. The main altar of the Crusader-era church, located just east of the larger rotunda, is where you can find the Greek Orthodox Catholicon today. The dome above it is 19.8 meters in diameter and sits right over the center of the transept crossing. This is where the compass is located, along with the omphalos stone, once believed to be the center of the world. Orthodox Christians still venerate it as such, as it is associated with the crucifixion and resurrection. In 1996, the dome was topped with the Golgotha crucifix, consecrated by Greek Patriarch Diodorus of Jerusalem. Professor Gustav Kunel from Israel suggested the idea of erecting a new crucifix at the church to symbolize unity in the Christian faith community. The area known as the Place of the Three Marys is located to the south of the edicule and is identified by a stone canopy called the Station of the Holy Women and a large contemporary wall mosaic. The Armenian monastery can be accessed from here, occupying the ground and first upper floor of the church's southeastern section. Located to the west of the edicule and behind the rotunda, you will find the Syriac chapel housing the tomb of Joseph of Arimathea. This chapel, situated in a Constantinian apse, also features an entrance to an ancient Jewish rock-cut tomb. It is in this chapel where the Syriac Orthodox community gathers to celebrate their liturgy every Sunday. The Syriac Chapel of St. Joseph of Arimathea and St. Nicodemus is a place of worship for the Syriac Orthodox community. It is situated west of the edicule and at the rear of the rotunda. This chapel, located in a Constantinian apse, contains the tomb of Joseph of Arimathea and provides access to an ancient Jewish rock-cut tomb. Every Sunday, the Syriac Orthodox faithful come together in this chapel to celebrate their liturgy. In the chapel's distant corner, you'll find a small entrance leading to a nearly intact Jewish tomb from the 1st century. Inside, 6 lock-type funeral shafts extend from a central chamber, with 2 of them still visible. Despite lacking any distinguishing features, there is a belief that Joseph of Arimathea and Nicodemus were laid to rest in this tomb. This discovery is significant as it suggests that the Holy Sepulchre site, where the crucifixion took place, was located beyond the city walls, following Jewish burial customs of that time. In the northeastern part of the complex, there is a place called the Prison of Christ, where it is believed that Jesus was held. The Greek Orthodox also have a similar place called the Prison of Christ in their monastery of the Praetorium. It is located near the church of Ecce Homo, between the 2nd and 3rd stations of Dolorosa. The Armenians, on the other hand, believe that the Prison of Christ is a recess in the monastery of the Flagellation at the 2nd station of the Via Dolorosa. Additionally, there is a cistern beneath the Church of St. Peter in Gallicantu on Mount Zion that is also claimed to be the Prison of Christ. To reconcile these different traditions, some people suggest that Jesus was held in the Mount Zion cell during his trial by the Jewish high priest, at the Praetorium during his trial by the Roman governor Pilate, and near Golgotha before his crucifixion. The Church of the Holy Sepulchre has always been a special place for people who want to strengthen their faith and show their love for God. People from all over the world, from different backgrounds, have traveled far and wide to visit this incredible church with a long and important history. The church is a powerful reminder of God's love for us. It's a place where we can remember Jesus' incredible sacrifice on the cross and his resurrection. The story of redemption is cherished there, and many people find a deeper understanding of it when they see the actual spot where these amazing events took place. The holy fire that appears in the Church of the Holy Sepulchre every year on Easter Saturday is seen as a blessing for those who witness it, and it is considered a miracle, and it gives hope to those who come seeking hope. This event, observed for centuries, is considered one of the most important religious ceremonies in the Orthodox tradition. Also, the Church of the Holy Sepulchre is shared by multiple Christian denominations, and it serves as a symbol of unity in a region that has often been torn apart by conflict. The fact that so many different denominations can come together in such a sacred and special place is truly remarkable. It shows that despite our differences, we can find common ground and work together. What do you think? Let us know in the comments below, and don't forget to subscribe to our channel for more updates.